All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the WeBook It podcast. Let's start the show.
Yo, what's up, WeBook It fam? This is your boy Big Daddy C coming back at you with another episode of Who's Next on NXT. Stepping in for Virgil. He's attending to his newborn baby. So he asked me to step in for him tonight. So kicking off, we had the first match, Lola Vice versus Kelani Jordan. This feud has been going on for a hot minute and has become very personal. Before Kelani Jordan could even get into the ring, Lola Vice is pretty much all over her, kicking her ass. Both women have been aggressive in the ring since this feud has started. Lola Vice was selling an injured hand, so Kelani Jordan did take advantage of that injury. To neutralize some of the striking offense that Lola would dish out. Next thing you know, the injury did become a focal point for most of the match, essentially. And, Kelani Jordan was in control before and throughout the commercial break as she kept focusing on the injured hand. There's not much excitement in this match. There were some bit of slowness throughout the match. But obviously they did a great job, telling the story that they wanted to tell with this feud. Kelani Jordan ended up winning the match with a pretty unique submission on Lola Vice's injured hand. So she did manage to take full advantage of that injury. Let's see here. Next up, we had a promo between Joe Hendry and Ricky Saints. As Ricky Saints was walking to the parking lot, Joe Hendry basically jumped him. The fight was broken up by security immediately. When the show came back from commercial break, Joe Hendry came to the ring and called out Ricky Saints to a fight. Ricky Saints would appear in the crow's nest and said that seeing Joe Hendry with the title made him sick. He said that Joe Hendry is just a gimmick and sees right through it. They exchanged some trash talking back and forth until Ricky Saints proposed a title match at Vengeance Day, which Joe Hendry would accept. Obviously this is your, typical talk trash and segment, to set up a title match. But I think this is going to be a good match between these two, so I can't wait to check it out when it happens. Let me see here. Next up, we had Cutler James versus Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo and Dark State did have separate segments to hype up their upcoming match. In this match here, you had Tony D, who is now new, improved, this more darker version of himself, basically having his first singles match in months against Cutler James this week. He came out with new music and different gear that fit more with this new personality that he has. This was a highly physical battle right out the gate. D'Angelo got the win in quick fashion. I think it was only like a couple of minutes, but everything they did in those couple of minutes looked pretty awesome. Deion Lennox did attack Tony D'Angelo after the match was over, but Tony D'Angelo would eventually get the better of Dark State and use the steel steps to inflict some extra damage. If there were some few more minutes, this match could have been one of the highlights this week. Let me see here. Next up, we had OTM versus the Culling versus Hank and Tank versus Swipe Right. This is for a tag team title shot. The match itself was for a chance at a tag team title match. So this fatal four-way, this is all chaos. Basically started out Spears tried to tag out to swipe right to avoid facing Price, but they dropped off the apron and made him fight for himself. You had with the four teams and only two legal men at any given time. People were basically tagging in whenever they had a chance. I absolutely hate that like format of attack of a fatal four. Like I like the tornado tag, style of like, fatal four-way matches. Like I like it to be all tag teams in the ring going at it, as if it was like a TLC match or a false count anywhere, like shit like that. I don't like this two teams in at a time. Like this stupid. I like all chaos. I need all tag teams in the ring, outside the ring, however you see fit. Like I need it all. Like I don't like this. I don't like this two tag teams in at one time. Shit like that. It's dumb. They need to go ahead and get rid of that shit. But anyway, back to the match. You had Price and Vance being the two biggest guys in the ring. So their showdown was given a lot of special attention in the middle of the match. Like I said, it was chaotic, but in a good way. It was pretty easy to follow who the legal man was at any given time. Each team, played a different role at different times. There were some funny moments in this match, between the different teams, but the action still remained entertaining. NXT tag team division has always been hot. It's even hotter now. And so, this match did, help showcase how different each team is. Eventually, Jackson Drake would call Spears the win. And it led to Baylor falling onto Spears and getting the pin and the win. And Swipe Right are now the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Next up, we had JC Jane speaking her mind. You had Zarya being shown backstage telling Sol Ruka that their friendship was over after Ruka ended up getting the title shot last week. After the commercial break, Fatal Influence will come out to the ring. JC Jane said that she was actually looking forward to facing Sol Ruka for the championship and that she was a little jealous of Ruka because the crowd loves her more. JC Jane would then complain about how Sol Ruka was, how Sol Ruka is basically upstaging her at every chance she gets and that WWE has been shoving her down everyone's throat. She also mocked Sol Ruka and Zarya's personal issues, which brought out Sol Ruka to respond. They did trade some insults before Fatal Influence would, start jumping her. And then, of course, this would bring down Zarya to make the save and took out all three members of the group before offering her hand to Sol Ruka and hugging her. So much for that friendship being over. For now, but we know how WWE does with this. This fake friend shit. It's only a matter of time for somebody turns on somebody else, So I think, Zarya is going to, if Sol Ruka wins that championship or if she doesn't, these two will be facing each other. And I believe Zarya will be the one to turn on Sol Ruka, but we will see how that plays out. So they just delaying the inevitable at this point. So it's just a matter of, when we will get it. Looks like we might get it at Vengeance Day. So we'll see. Next up, we had Elio LeFleur versus Eli Knight. These two met in a match to determine the next challenger for Jasper Troy. These two both favor a fast-paced style. So a lot of high-flying spots right out the gate. These matches are usually short for the most part. And so there's nothing special that really comes out of these type of matches. But, obviously you want to showcase the talent that you have, every chance that you get. And so they end up running out of time without a winner. So the interim GM, Robert Stone, came out and booked a triple threat match for the title. The Operation Overdrive title with a 7-minute time limit instead of the usual 5 minutes. And if you all didn't notice already, the reason why I I'm just going to call it the Operation Overdrive Championship. I refuse to say the S word because I hate everything about it in regards to this specific championship that these men are fighting for or fighting for a chance to get. Yeah, I'm not even going to say the word. But next up, we had Ethan Page, the main event. We had Ethan Page versus Shiloh Hill for the NXT North American Championship. And so the match started off with a simple wrist lock exchange that ended with Page being flipped onto his back by Shiloh Hill. Hill eventually prevented Page from using a steel chair to get himself intentionally disqualified. When Ethan Page tried to bring in the title belt, Shiloh Hill once again stopped him from using the foreign object. Then Vanity Project will eventually come out there to watch the match up close, which would distract Shiloh Hill as the show went to a commercial break. Shiloh Hill would eventually take out all three men when they try to get involved, but this would allow Ethan Page to sneak up from behind, hit the twisted grin on the exposed concrete, and then Ethan Page would throw him back in the ring, hit the twisted grin once again, and retain his championship and set a new record for the most successful title defenses. I'm not sure if that's for that particular title, the North American title, or just across the board for all NXT championships. I have to look into that. But yeah, that was the main event. There are some other key moments in here where Blake Monroe, she was introducing herself to Robert Stone as if they never met. It was a pretty funny segment. I did forget to mention that after let me see here. After the Fatal 4-Way match, after the main event, I'm sorry. After the main event, Ethan Page won. Miles Bourne came out there and pretty much went ape shit on everybody. And Ethan Page, he basically he wrapped Ethan Page's ankle with the steel chair, and he threatened to basically smash it. Ethan Page, okay, you got the title shot. You got your title shot. And he walked away, and then Ethan Page was like, I know you couldn't do it. And then next thing you know, Miles Bourne comes out and basically jumps and smashes Ethan Page's ankle. And that's how we ended the show. So Miles Bourne is coming for the NXT North American Championship, and I cannot wait to see that. That has been that's pretty much the entire show for NXT, and that concludes this recap show for Who's Next on NXT. Big Daddy C signing out. Thanks for all who's going to be tuning into this episode when it drops. Virgil will be back next week. So I will catch you guys later. Peace.